Professional football in America is a special game, a unique game. Played nowhere else on earth, it is a rare game. The men who play it make it so.
Hey, baby, let's go out there like a bunch of crazy dogs. Have some fun.
Coming now, buddy. We on our horse all day long. Let's just kick that butt all day long. Pick it up. Don't stop. Pick it up. Let's go.
Get after the ball. Tattoo somebody.
All right, welcome to week 2 of This Week in Fantasy Football. He's Scott Engel, and I'm Mike Cardano, and this week I'm going to be his sidekick so I don't get kicked in the head. How's your week 1, Scotty?
Very, very good. 7 leagues, won 5 of them, and I am in 11th overall in the Roto Bowl standings.
7 leagues, you won 5. But what's the competition? Were you playing against kindergarten kids?
I'm playing against in mostly expert leagues. I'm not in any of your kindergarten leagues, no.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right, let's get right to it. Let's see. Rams at the Falcons, 1 o'clock on Fox, playing in a dome. What are you looking at there?
Well, you know, I'm looking for the Rams offense to continue to evolve more, but the thing that jumps at me more than anything in this game is when I talk about guys facing their former teams, it's always a motivational factor, and they always want to play well against their former teams. Football is a game of emotion. Steven Jackson going against his old team, I have to absolutely love him. Roddy White is hurting, and Julio Jones even missed a practice this week, so Harry Douglas may get more involved in the flow of the offense.
Is Roddy White he's not out?
There's a possibility that somebody actually called our Roto Experts morning show and said they know somebody who actually said that Roddy White might not play. Well, I don't know how accurate that source is.
Game.
Yes, but Roddy White.
I don't think he's missed a game in his
Roddy
career.
White's never had an ankle sprain of this sort. You know, just because he hasn't missed one doesn't mean he won't miss one. And even if he does play, he was a decoy last week. So again, you could see Harry Douglas get more involved in the offense.
Okay. Panthers at the Bills. Bills put up a valiant effort last week. What do we see here? How did you like Manuel, first of all?
I think he's a quick study. Reminds me of Russell Wilson in terms of the fact that I think he's going to make an impact really quickly, but I don't think it's going to happen this week against a really improved Carolina defense. It's got a very strong front. You saw it last week. Star Latulippe is making an instant impact on the defensive line, but I think this is a big game for Cam Newton. He didn't throw. You didn't see the numbers last week, but he made some really good reads and throws. I think Cam Newton has a big week. I think Steve Smith has a big week because there are some serious injuries in that Buffalo secondary.
Yeah, I happen to be very high on the Panthers defense. They've had a lot of high draft picks lately, and if they come together, I think they're going to be something special. Vikings at the Bears. Maybe thunderstorms there, but no wind. Rain can be okay.
Rain can be okay. You know, the quarterbacks can get a grip on the football. Wind, and later in the year we'll talk about how snow affects footing and etc. And it might actually give more advantage to the offense than the defense sometimes when it snows. But we'll save that for later in the year.
Who's going to have a better fantasy day? Which one of the 2 running backs?
Adrian Peterson. You always bet on him, but that doesn't mean Forte
Forte's
won't
not a
have a
slouch.
good day.
Yeah.
Forte's not a slouch. I'm not a believer in Jerome Simpson. It was Jerome Simpson last week who'll get defensive attention. Maybe Greg Jennings has a decent day, but at this point in his career, I'm not expecting a whole lot on the other side of the ball.
Peterson, if you take out one run, he didn't do much last week.
Yeah, but you don't do that. And I hate when people...
That was Barry Sanders.
I hate when people say that. That sounds so ill-informed. When you take out that one run, you don't take out that one run. It counted. Guys who play football know this. I've spoken to athletes before, and they say, they might try to hit the same crease or the same crack every time, and then go back to the huddle and say, I saw something, I'm going to break it next time, and boom, it happens. No, you don't take it away. You never take it away.
All right, the Redskins at the Packers, or the Redskins, you think they're still in shock?
Well, the thing is, Robert Griffin III, obviously they're trying to make him more of a pocket passer. It's taken an adjustment period. He doesn't have a whole lot of weaponry. Green Bay's defense didn't look too sharp last week. Should look better this week. I expect Alfred Morris to get more on track this week. From the Green Bay side of the ball, I think Eddie Lacy is going to have a very good game this week.
This whole thing that you have these running quarterbacks who now, if they get hurt or as they get older, they try to make them non-running quarterbacks. He's still obviously going to be able to run a little.
Who have they tried to make into a non-running quarterback?
Well, my point is he's not Tom Brady or Peyton Manning, and he's not going to be. Part of his game is his legs. If you take that away from him, he's just not as effective.
He threw for 300 yards last week.
It was mop-up time. He was trying to catch up. They were down by 20-something
I don't know. I
points.
think he's a very strong arm and he's very accurate. I don't think they're going to completely take it away, but I don't think they want to. I think they want to be cautious with him too.
Okay. Dolphins at the Colts. Are the Dolphins for real? The
That
Colts kind of let the other team back in it last week.
The Ravens played better than expected, but I'll tell you, the Dolphins' defense is for real. It's going to be tough for Andrew Luck this week. Vic Ballard, etc. They're going to try to get T.Y. Hilton more involved, but this could be a lower scoring game. But I think you'll definitely see Mike Wallace get involved this week after catching one ball for 15 yards. He pouted, and you know what happens when guys like that pout? They get the ball a lot the following week.
I'd not throw it to him just to give him a little.
Yeah, but you're not on the Miami Dolphins, and Ryan Tannehill's got to have a good relationship with the guy that they signed for a lot of money.
The Cowboys at the Chiefs. I was pretty impressed with the Cowboys. I wasn't that impressed with the Chiefs. The Chiefs didn't go up against much, although the Chiefs...
What are you not impressed with?
Well, look at the competition they played. It's hard to gauge.
It's a professional football team. This is not college football. We're not talking about ranking.
That's about as low as you'll get to a professional football team.
Let me tell you something. A winning team is supposed to perform like they perform. You're supposed to beat a team like the Jaguars the way they beat them. We're going to see more offensive balance from this team. You'll see Dwayne Bowe getting more involved this week. I like that defense a lot. It's very underrated. And the reason why it wasn't good for fantasy in years past is because they spent too much time on the field. Now they won't. Dallas is obviously a tougher opponent. It looks like Dez Bryant probably going to play this week. They say they want to run the ball more, but they usually end up throwing it a lot.
Who do you think wins that game?
I think Kansas City wins at home.
Wow, it's a tough place to play.
Yes, Arrowhead is.
Browns, the Ravens. Trent Richardson.
The original Browns against the current Browns.
Yeah. Trent Richardson.
I think Trent Richardson has a good week. He bounces back. I don't know why the Browns were throwing so much last week. They have to get back to the cliched bread and butter with Trent Richardson. Look for him to be a lot more involved. Jordan Cameron's going to get more defensive attention. I don't know how good of a game he's going to have, but then the Ravens are going to come out fired up after being
it didn't matter who played against Denver last week. They weren't going to beat Denver. Nobody was.
But the Ravens are going to be very fired up. I think they're going to come out playing very well. But the one thing is Torrey Smith faces Joe Hayden. That does not bode well for Torrey Smith. We could see a low-scoring game. A lot of people are assuming because Torrey Smith faced Joseph Hayden that Marlon Brown's are going to get open a lot. Just because Marlon Brown has that opportunity doesn't mean he's going to run with it. I think you're going to see these teams go up and down the field and kick field goals.
Okay. Should I be taking one of the field goal kickers?
Yeah, Justin Tucker.
Okay. Chargers at the Eagles.
Chargers at the Eagles. The Eagles look very good in week one, but Michael Vick has never, ever been consistent. But I think the Chargers defense is going to spend a lot of time on the field. LaShawn McCoy is going to have another big game. You could see another good game for Deshaun Jackson, another good game from Michael Vick. Let's see, maybe the Chargers try to play some ball control with Ryan Matthews. I don't have any confidence that Phillip Rivers can repeat that type of performance.
He had a great game, he just didn't throw the picks.
He didn't throw any for any yardage. It was 195 yards. Nobody had any receiving yardage, even though he had the 4 touchdowns.
I had the best time. I was watching it in the bar with you, watching the guys holding the sideline markers try to get up and down the field with the Eagles as they got first downs, try to get there in time.
Yeah.
What happens is, though, if they get up by a lot, they got to slow down. They can't run the clock.
They don't have to. They're professional athletes. They're not you.
Well, Vic thought that it was halftime at the end of the first quarter. He was exhausted. The offense is going to get tired, too. I'm very interested to see how successful that offense is in the second half of the season after everybody's got tape on him.
It's not just the speed. It's the fact that Michael Vick's never consistent.
Yeah, okay. Shady McCoy looked good.
Oh.
It's just chaos going on there. Nobody knows who to cover, and he's slashing.
Well, that's what they want defensively. They want to hear chaos.
Titans at the Texans.
The Texans.
Texas.
The Texans actually got a good battle from the Chargers last week, but I think the Titans' offense is going to be a lot of 3 and outs. I think the Texans are going to dominate time of possession.
Is that a rivalry since the Titans were the Texas team, and now they're in.
Not really.
No?
Maybe for the fans, but not for the players at all. They don't remember that. It was so long ago. Houston Oilers, etc. These guys don't remember it. They're just playing to win. And they're not really in the same division, so
Right.
it really doesn't matter. Maybe it's more for the fans than anything. If you're one of those old fans of, the Houston Oilers or something like that, maybe that means something to you.
Does Schaub have another good week?
I think he has a decent week. I think Andre Johnson has another big game. I think they're trying to motivate Arian Foster. I think he'll have a pretty good game. I can't see Chris Johnson having another more than a mediocre game, and I think the Houston defense is going to be a really good start this week.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Jake Locker at least two turnovers.
Lions at the Cardinals. Now, it seems to me it doesn't matter who's playing running back for the Lions. You get to rack up yards both on the ground and receiving the ball.
Well, it looks like Reggie Bush's going to be okay with the groin and the thumb, so obviously you roll with him. Joik Bell, it's always going to be a roll of the dice to see how many touchdowns he gets, but I think you start him. They're going to look to get Calvin Johnson a touchdown last week after he couldn't get two last week.
Now, this is not going to be a cakewalk. The Cardinals only let up 10 fantasy points against their wide receivers they played against last week.
Arizona has a better defense than people give them credit for, but I don't think you can bench any of your key Detroit Lions. On the other side of the ball, Rashard Mendenhall had a decent day, but that's a strong defensive line for the Lions, so I don't like him a lot. Larry Fitzgerald obviously going to get his. Carson Palmer could feel a lot of pressure in the pocket more than he did last week. Could be an up and down day for Carson Palmer. People talking about starting Carson Palmer over Russell Wilson. I wouldn't do it.
Saints and the Buccaneers. Buccaneers have to be pissed.
I think they are, and they're calling for Josh Freeman's head. Stash Mike Glennon in a 2-quarterback league. But I think Doug Martin has a good day. Vincent Jackson, obviously a must start. Mike Williams can catch another touchdown. On the other side of the ball, the Saints really have no running game. The Saints
do they need a running game?
They don't need it. Drew Brees has such a quick release and makes such quick reads. I think there's another week when you can start Kenny Stills and expect at least 40 receiving yards.
You really like Stills?
I do. Look what he did last week. Well over 80 yards.
Yeah.
He had a 67-yard catch.
Yep. Jaguars against the Raiders. Now,
you would think this game would be unwatchable.
I'm guessing Jaguars fans are going to watch and Raiders fans are going to watch. Hey, fantasy fans, you got to watch. Now, what did you think of Terrell Pryor? Well,
before you get to that, I will say on Chad Henne starting a quarterback for the Jaguars is better. I think Cecil Shorts has a decent day. Maurice Jones-Drew gets on track. Terrell Pryor looked very good, but he's still erratic in terms of mechanics. I don't think you have to worry about it this week, but I would not be starting Terrell Pryor over a more established quarterback just yet, because anything can happen in the NFL any given week. I think Darren McFadden is a pretty good day.
Who has a better day, Maurice Jones-Drew or McFadden?
I think McFadden will have a slightly better day because the Jaguars' defense will be too overworked. I think Rod Streeter is a very solid start.
Okay. I just think the intriguing part with Pryor is not on him throwing the ball, because I think he's gonna.
Yeah, he'll run the ball.
You're gonna see turnovers. People are excited.
You're gonna get the rushing yards,
but that line's awful.
You're not gonna start him over a more established quarterback like Russell Wilson or Cam Newton or even Eli Manning.
Broncos, Giants, the Manning brothers. Who's gonna have a better night?
I think it's Peyton. I think Peyton's the number one quarterback in fantasy football right now. It's reflected on my in-season ranks on RotoExperts.com right now. I think Eric Decker bounces back. He said his performance was, quote, ridiculous last week. I think he's going to want the ball. He's going to call for the ball. It'd be interesting to see if Monty Ball starts to emerge as that lead running back. It's just a matter of time in Denver. Don't start him this week. On the Giants side of the ball, this is a very, very pivotal game for David Wilson. I would not be surprised to see more of Darrell Scott if he continues to struggle. Brandon Jacobs is not going to be a factor. Both these teams are going to fling it.
Well, they might bring him in as just a pass block.
Well, they might, but they signed him off the street, so what kind of shape is he in, even though he's a 265 pound?
You just stand there and impede the progress. Wilson was just diving at people's feet. He's going to get men and killed.
You just fling it and zing it here, and I think Ruben Randall has another good game.
Okay. All right. 49ers, Seahawks. Now I know who you think is going to win, but you're not looking at this.
I don't think it's a given on either side.
It's a given.
I don't think it's
49ers is the best team in the game.
I'm not. Well, that remains to be seen. You're judging it by 1 week, and how good they look. They looked last
that's
week.
What it is. What it is.
Are they better than Denver? We don't know that.
Yes,
we don't know that.
I know that.
I mean, they're playing a team.
I'm Kermit.
They're playing a team that last week doesn't have a defense like the Seahawks have a defense. Let's see how they perform this week.
We shall review this game next week.
Yeah, but
who's going to have the better fantasy?
From a fantasy perspective, of course, you're not benching Kaepernick. Bolden doesn't have a game like he did last week against Richard Sherman in that defense. But tight ends can burn the Seahawks. I do like Vernon Davis. I think Frank Gore gets a decent amount of work, has a decent day. On the other side, I don't think when the Seahawks play at home, you just can't look at the other team and say, okay, that's a tough defense. I'm going to sit my Seahawks. They can be vulnerable in the secondary. I think Russell Wilson has a good game because they can use the pass to open it up for the run.
What are Marshawn Lynch's prospects this week?
I think they're pretty good. He always seems to play pretty well against the 49ers.
Who do you think has a better game, Frank Gore or Marshawn Lynch?
Marshawn Lynch. Two good defenses, and Lynch is the better running back.
All right. Actually, disagree. But
why?
I just like Gore.
Why?
I don't think he's over the hill. I didn't
say he was over the hill.
I've heard other people say he was. I like Gore. I did no.
Why do you like him better than
disrespect to Lynch?
Why do you like him better than? Well, do you like him better than Lynch overall or in this game? What are you saying?
I actually think that Gore will end up with more fantasy points on the year than Lynch.
Yeah, that's not
part of it has to do with the offensive line.
That's not going to happen.
You think Seattle has a good offensive line?
Marshawn Lynch is a number one running back. Frank Gore is
number
a number
one
two
running back who scored 4 points.
In 1 week. You're talking about 1 week. You're going to judge the season on 1 week?
Well, if you had him, you're pretty depressed over it.
Marshawn Lynch is elite last year.
He wasn't elite last week.
That's 1 week.
And it was a loss.
What did Frank Gore do if he didn't score a touchdown?
Nobody had more than 4.
If he didn't score a touchdown, he would have about the same amount of yardage as Lynch.
That would be 4.
This is irrelevant. You're not making
Steelers
sense.
at the Bengals.
Steelers at the Bengals. The Steelers are going to be looking bad this year. Now that they lost Pouncey on the offensive line, they don't have a running game. They're going against a very good defense this week. It's not a good outlook for the Steelers. I love the Bengals defense in fantasy this week. I think maybe you see more of Tyler Eifert and Giovanni Bernard this week.
Okay, all right. Let's get right to the questions for the King.
Okay.
A lot of questions. I had to weed them out this week. All right. Actually, didn't weed this one out because this can't be possible. Gary from Gary, Indiana. Could that be possible?
How about just Gary from Indiana?
After seeing the Eagles play in Week 1, have you changed your opinion on Michael Vick? Should he be viewed as a top quarterback?
Top what? He's not going to be top 5. I'm not going to... Again...
It's what he's asking. Gary's asking, have you changed your opinion?
This sounds like a question from you. People reacting to 1 week. And you can't react to 1 week. Michael Vick...
You don't have to insult the one. They're watching the program. They're asking you a question. And you're insulting. You're taking a dig.
You
just answer his question.
So, I'll take a dig right back at you. Why should I change my opinion? He's basically...
Gary's not changing his opinion.
I'm not changing my opinion.
Before we insult him anymore, let's move on to the next question.
No, let me finish answering the question, okay? Michael Vick has never played good start to finish in his entire career, and 1 week is not going to change my mind.
Okay. There'd be nobody left watching here. They'd have to
That's
be worried about if they ask a question, you're going to yell at them.
Well,
be nice to the viewers.
They should think about that question.
Be nice.
Tough love.
Do you ever hear there's never a bad question?
Tough love.
All right. At Vaulted Ceilings. I love these Twitter handles. They're all cute.
Yes.
Did Terrell Pryor perform better, worse, or as you expected in Week 1? He scored 19 points.
Better.
Okay.
Better. Yes.
Okay.
Top 15
Consider yourself
fantasy,
lucky he didn't yell at you for asking the question.
Top 15 fantasy quarterback. But don't be like him and judge on 1 week.
At Brian Bain, I guess guy's using his name. Are you concerned with the performance of Doug Martin last week?
No, I think he had a decent game. All things considered, and he still scored a touchdown. I don't think there's anything to be concerned about.
Okay, he's getting nice all of a sudden. Cindy from Newport, Rhode Island. Ladies, once again chiming in. Wants to know who you were most impressed with in Week 1. And who you were most concerned with after seeing Week 1?
Who was I most impressed with in Week 1, and who was that? That's a good question. Who was I most impressed with?
We have educated viewers.
We do.
Want to come back to that one?
No, I can think, but I can give you somebody for every team. I mean, I was obviously impressed. I was impressed by Julius Thomas. Very impressed. I mean, I think I was most impressed by Peyton Manning, but obviously,
all right. Who are you most concerned about after seeing Week 1? Whether because of injury or you just didn't like the way they looked.
You want my honest answer? I'm not most impressed or most concerned with anyone after just 1 week. I can't overreact to 1 week.
When you qualify an answer by saying, do you want my honest answer, that means if you don't say that every time, that you're not being genuine the other times.
What's your point?
Go ahead, answer the question.
I don't think I was overly impressed or overly worried with anyone because it's just 1 week and it's too much to... I can't overreact to stuff like Lamar Miller, Jerome Simpson, the jury is still out, as the cliche goes.
Well, you're going to love this one because either this guy has my back or he's just got a bone to pick with you.
Okay.
Paul from Oakland, California. Now, I know you're going to say he's from Oakland. He deserves everything he got. Okay.
Yeah.
King, after waxing poetically about Marshawn Lynch, he put up all of 4 points in Week 1. Thanks for nothing. Any other brilliant recommendations? So what have you got to say?
Brilliant 1 week. It's 1 week. 1 week. Stop overreacting. Yes.
Okay. Question from me.
Yes.
Actually, I have a question. After seeing Colin Kaepernick in Week 1, do you agree that he will end up with the most fantasy points for quarterback on the season?
Nope, but he'll be top 4. I don't think anybody's else going to outscore Peyton Manning this year, though. I don't think anybody's outscoring Peyton Manning.
Do you rank Kaepernick higher than you did
my in-season ranks on RotoExperts.com. I ranked him higher, bumped him up about 4 spots from 8 to 4. I'm very impressed by him, but I can't yet in his career, right, put him ahead of Peyton Manning, Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers. I can't.
Is there any quarterbacks that you dropped heavy? Had a big drop.
I'm not too reactionary.
So there were no major moves this week?
There were no major moves up or down. Terrell Pryor went up to like 16.
Right.
But, where he wasn't even ranked. So
absent injuries, there were no major moves in the rankings. Subtle stuff.
And, back to that question, who was I most impressed with? I was kind of impressed with Terrell Pryor. But, again, it's 1 week, and the mechanics still concern me.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Andrew Luck, more or less fantasy points than Matt Schaub on the season?
On the season, more. Matt Schaub's not going to be consistent.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. The Seahawks give up more or less than an average of 17 points per game, which would be pretty good.
I would say less. Slightly less.
That's a good defense.
It's a very good defense.
Okay. All right. All right. Last week I asked you this question.
Let me qualify this by saying they'll still be up there like top 2 or 3. It's more of a passing league, so even if I would say over, they'd still be top 3.
Right. Okay. All right. Now, last week I asked you this question, and you looked at me as if I had 2 heads. But I'm going to ask it again.
I often do that,
just because of what happened. Arian Foster had just 2 more yards than Ben Tate, right? But he had double the carries, 18 to 9.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask you again: who's going to end up with more yards on the season, Tate or Foster?
Foster.
Okay. He was whining quite a bit that he lost carries, by the way. Your boy, how do you pronounce this? Joik Bell? Joik? Is that
yes,
you say his
Joik.
name? Joik. He had 20 points last week. Reggie Bush had to come out of the game, and that's where he got a lot of his touches.
No. They're going to give him goal line touches. He scored 2 short
touchdowns. Is he going to score 20 points in the game ever again this season?
Yeah, I think it's going to happen because he'll get 2 touchdowns in a game again.
Because people will scramble.
He's going to be that goal line runner. Although Reggie Bush can run well near the goal line, occasionally he will score near the goal line.
Okay. And you'd already said you don't expect Anquan Bolden to have another 200 yards this week.
No,
but
he's not going to get 100 yards.
Do you expect him to have 100 receptions on the year?
No.
No.
Because I think durability may be an issue.
Really?
Yeah. At his age right now, very admirable receiver, but I don't know if he can stay healthy.
Okay. That's all from the King. I'm Mike Cardano. We'll see you next week.
Now's the time to work and strain at a sport that tests the spirit and challenges the brain.
Come on, let's go. Yeah, I'd like to have 75 degrees and sunny all the time too, but that's not football.
Do you fear the force of the wind, the slash of the rain?
We're gonna play it through light and rain.
Go face them and fight them. Be savage again.